Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual. Welcome to Jets Guru, Jets content with Daniel Smith every Wednesday night as usual with his co-host Tyrus Kennedy, bringing knowledge to the squad. Guru Street team laying an article eclipse Andrew and Pete. Guru squad, we can't be beat. YouTube live, so feel the vibe and hit subscribe. Jets Guru, now it's time to go live. Now give it up for Daniel Smith and Tyrus Kennedy. Now let's go.
What is going on, everybody? Daniel Smith, right? Jets Guru. Half of the team here. We are here. We are winners. It is a victory Wednesday for us. The New York Jets have strung together victory, something we are not used to seeing on a regular basis. So I'm super excited. You know, it's just, now you see it. Right? Now you see it when you go from Zach Wilson-esque, Fitzpatrick-esque, McCown-esque quarterbacks, and you finally get a great quarterback. And this isn't even a great quarterback in his prime. This isn't even a great quarterback who just came off an MVP season. This is a great quarterback coming off a disaster injury. Okay, only 4 plays in, so he didn't play all of the season before. Thanks, Scott. And it's just like totally different world. And we talked about it, right? A lot of new pieces, but pretty much the same team. Like your main players are on offense are pretty much the same guy, Brees, Garrett. But when you have someone that could get the ball to the players in the right place at the right time so they could do what they do, you have success. Like you look at some of the plays that have happened with Garrett to start to the season. I mean, just placing the ball perfectly where it needs to be. Look at Mike Williams, who's only had a few opportunities, right, this season, but they've been big opportunities because of where Aaron is placing the ball. He's allowing guys like Mike Williams, who is really good at going up at the top of his jump and grabbing a ball and coming down with it, putting it where it needs to be, not underneath or over his head or to the right where he's got to make some kind of crazy catch just to grab it, let alone retain it and stay in bounds. But I mean, just quality throws down the end of the game, right? In the second game to get the Jets to 1-1 without that drive. You do not beat that Tennessee team. That is a game that you lose 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times you lose. If you are a Jets fan in the last 13 years or since Rex Ryan's lost, basically, you lose. But not this team. And why? Why? Because you have a quarterback that can play football. That's all we needed this whole time. Amazing. I would have never known that watching the rest of the league the last 13 years. But hey, everything happens for a reason, right? The Lord puts you in the places you need to be. Well, I guess the Jets are in the places they need to be to get Aaron Rodgers. Everything fell into place, and now we see, after having to wait and toil for one more season, why it was worth it and what the difference is and how many Jets teams were wasted over the years seeing. And I get it. Come on. I get it. You can't get a Hall of Fame quarterback every day, even at the end of his career. I get it, and it still be as good as what we've seen Aaron be. I get it. But they've been available and opportunities have been available, and I've always felt the Jets have been a little hesitant. And this worked out perfectly because of Hackett and the whole thing. You know, we know the whole story, right? But for me, Aaron Rodgers is everything for this team. He brings a level of accountability, a level of confidence, a level of been there before. Like those players leave the huddle knowing we've been there before. And now they've already gotten a taste of it early in the season with the comeback against Tennessee. They've already gotten a taste of it in this Patriots game, okay? And what we saw, what he was able to put together. Now, I was there live, okay? I was there live at the Patriots game, all right? And it was just such a wonderful environment. Like it really was. Like everybody was juiced up. I think everybody had that sense, you know, I'm a betting man, right? And I watch a lot of football. And, you know, I'm the type of guy where when I lose parlays, I don't lose them by just, you know, 2 or 3. I lose them by 1 or someone doesn't get a couple yards, like that type of thing. Okay. And I'm a betting man and I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, based on everything I see here, if I wasn't a Jets fan and I was just betting on what I've seen on Sunday so far, even though the Patriots were competitive against the Bengals, even though the Patriots competitive against the Seahawks, I just felt like the Jets matched up really well against them and they just didn't have enough talent. Like I knew Brissett wasn't going to be throwing interceptions all over the place. That's why he's there to minimize the mistakes so that they can win on running game and defense here and there. But the Jets just have the ability with Aaron Rodgers to always be in a game. Think about it. Think about the weapons that we have. Think about what Braylon Allen brings to this team now, where now you could take Breece Hall and send him out wide or put him in the slot. We've already seen everyone else on the roster who looks pretty good, like Corley. We've seen Conklin. We just saw him. He looks great. He went Ruckert. Hold on. Seriously. I have to just go through this right here. So there were 34 targets in the game. 27 of them were receptions. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different receivers. 34 targets, 27 receptions. Okay. And that's what I love about Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's a football player. He's not like some of the quarterbacks that we had in the past where you need the star to take over. Like, you got to throw Jefferson the ball 500 times a game for you to have a chance. You got to give McCaffrey the ball 900 times a game to have a chance, right? This is what these players had to do for their teams. When you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers and you have the weapons that the Jets have, just like Scott just said, and thanks for tuning in on YouTube, guys, Rodgers will find you. Just do the thing that got you to the NFL, which is just run your route. That's it, and catch it when it comes. But I think most of these guys, if given the opportunity, can do that. When they play with quarterbacks who are as good as Aaron Rodgers, you can take guys like Corley and make them 600-yard receivers out of nowhere. You can make Conklin a big-time tight end because you can find Conklin. He's a good player, right? And then we got Mike Williams, right? And then we got Lazard, who has all that experience with Aaron Rodgers. And look what we're seeing to start out of the season. Everyone's like, and including myself, oh, we're sorry. Look at Lazard. He's playing much better. Yes. Lazard is playing much better. But I don't think it's because Lazard tried any less last season to this season. When you were expecting to play with a Hall of Fame talent and you practice with a Hall of Fame talent and you start the season with a Hall of Fame talent and he gets injured 4 plays in, yeah, it's probably going to take time to form those bonds. And then Zach Wilson would have a rapport with the whole level of the receivers. So then this guy gets a ball every so often, then it's a drop. He's out of his head. He's probably thinking, man, this guy don't know how to play football. This guy can't put the ball where it needs to be. Yeah, so he checked out a bit, right, Victor? He checked out a little bit. It's natural. Now he's got his guy back who knows where to put the ball for the type of player that he is, and he's performing because of the quarterback. The quarterback is going to get the best out of those players. And again, this team is so dynamic that now that you've discovered and you now can confirm that Braylon Allen could be a difference maker in NFL games, you can now keep both of them on the field at the same time. You could split one out. You could put one in the slot. You could spread things out just to change up the look, right? And so I just really like what I've seen from the New York Jets these first 3 games. Like even the San Francisco game, that was a tough game because we got our butts whooped. But I still like what I saw from Rodgers in that game. And to be gone that long and still look pretty good. And then he even said it like on his interview, right? About his mobility, because we thought that Aaron Rodgers has potentially lost a step. But that's not what happened. Apparently, Aaron, as you see, and I was at the game, he looked quick on those rollouts. He looked very smooth with the footwork, getting to the sideline. And he's even playing like this little game. And I don't know if he's doing it gingerly just to slow himself down. But like as he gets closer to the sideline, you could see him literally just like slowing himself down. And he's taken like 2 or 3 really big hits and haven't gotten flags. And he's, rah-rah about it. Well, yeah, I'm in play. Guys know, listen, he's going out. He's not going to stop, do a juke, and go up the sideline. That's not what Aaron is doing. And guys are just playing through the whistle. It's fair enough. But that's something that we kind of got to watch because that's just something that I just really don't like. And like Ralph says on Facebook, he says he just loves the way he handles the line of scrimmage, right? And I agree with that. It's just a totally professional way of playing football. He knows where to put people. And that's why I'm saying the move totally made sense from the beginning and that it was going to be a lot easier of a transition once they actually all played together because he knew the playbook. The offensive coordinator knows the quarterback. The quarterback can put the receivers in place. Lazard played in the system. He could teach the young guys. Like it works together. It's like it's not like ground zero. You're not starting from nothing. Like you have foundational pieces, foundational terminology, things that could come over and translate here. So it's a lot easier, smoother, right? And then they've already been through a whole offseason in this offense with Aaron. They just didn't play during the season, but they still practiced, went into training camp. Everyone's on the same page as far as the scheme of what they do from a game-to-game basis. And so coming into the second year, they're a little bit more versed, they're together, more unit, and then more unity. And obviously, when you break down the offensive line has been really good for the New York Jets. Like me and Victor were talking about it in the back. I think they're 8th in the league or something in pressures. It's one of those things where Joe has been trying to tinker with this line for a few years. And to me, the players haven't met their name on the back of the jersey. Like a lot of the players that he brought in were guys that had chips on their shoulders, worked their way to their position, had good seasons, and now we're looking to cash in a little bit. And so they'd come to the Jets, get injured or not play as well. But it seems like this crop of guys that he's brought back, obviously familiar with Moses, who got injured, and he'll probably be back soon in probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And, you got Fashanu that you drafted that's sitting on the bench now paying dividends. Now you actually have a talented guy. You could replace someone like Moses, which is nice to have, right? And then you got Mr. Smith, who a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, didn't allow a single pressure at all the whole game. Which is awesome, right? And then you've seen the grades, like how Tippmann has been grading out at center PFF. So the offensive line is playing like really, really well as well. But I expected this. Like this is the type of like you look at the names on the roster, like Simpson, veteran, Tippmann, like big monster center. AVT, we already see how talented he has been over the last few years. Just the injuries. Then you bring Moses, talented veteran. Smith, talented, Hall of Fame veteran. Like they're mostly healthy. Like I expected this. Like I expected this type of level of play. Aaron Rodgers gets rid of the ball faster than almost any quarterback in league history, from what I know. It's like 1-2, something like that, right? So you combine a line with talent that works well side by side because of that talent, and you have a quarterback who's talented and also happens to get rid of the ball, one of the fastest in the league ever. All of that coming together helps. Then, if the Jets can establish a healthy run game throughout the year, this is going to even add a little bit more confusion to what the Jets do weekend to weekend, because it's going to be like, all right, well, it's going to be hard to get to Aaron. And then Aaron could, he could change something up, maybe 2-3 plays at the line. And then we don't know if he's going to run it. And there's just a lot of confusion. And, there was that little push off, right? That everybody showed where Salah went up to Aaron and, he kind of pushed him off, right? And I get that, all right? Like, people didn't understand what was going on. But really, if you still don't know, basically he was telling him to score lead. He's basically, because Salah runs the defense, right? So he was basically telling Salah to score lead. You know what that means now, right? Come on. We're about to shut it down and like cash it in. And I like that fire. And I like that competitive edge. Like, once the offense gets going, like, all right, you guys want to be number one defense, to score lead. I got you 2 touchdowns. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to shut it down and get the ball back to us so we can score again? Or get Greg out here and put some points on the board, 17-0, 17-3, these types of things like that. The Jets are very capable of this. We spoke about this in the offseason. I mean, every single week that we came on, we were talking about the potential what this offense could be. And I mean, it's paying dividends now as we see. Aaron Rodgers, 11th in QBR in the league. Aaron Rodgers, 11th in TD percentage in the league. I mean, Aaron Rodgers only sacked 5 times, 22nd in the league. You've seen what Allen's been able to provide. You've seen what Breece Hall's been able to provide in the passing game and in big chunk plays in the running game the last 2 weeks. This is a big-time offense. And all of a sudden, Conklin just pops out of nowhere. You're like, it's just unlimited. It's unlimited. Sorry. Solo today. Got to get some water, right? Got to protect yourself. But it just makes me so excited to be a Jets fan, to see this type of a product on the field. Now, when I have my season tickets, I don't feel bad about getting them, right? Like, potentially, like, when I go to the game, it's like, it's hard for me to make the Sunday and Monday night games because of work. Everyday people can't really go to those games that don't live right next to New Jersey. It's tough. But, I mean, now you're excited. Now you're like, I'm going to the game this weekend. Like, it's worth the extra money, the extra trip to go when you can. And this is what we wanted. This is what season ticket holders wanted. We wanted some success. We wanted to see the team perform with the rising money and costs of everything. This is what I was looking for. And we're finally getting a winning product on the field. Now, I know it's really, really early, and we've got to temper some of these feelings about how we feel about their Super Bowl chances and all this. It's a long season, right? But you also look in the division, you have the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills are playing really good football. And as a Jets fan, for me, it's a little scary, right? Like, when you think about it, but we've always had success against the Bills, I think, recently in Josh Allen. But Jermaine Johnson was a big key to that, and he's not around anymore. But, it's one of those things for me as a Jets fan. I feel when I watch this, and I'm not being objective, like, okay, well, we're going to kick butt. I just look at it. I feel like Josh Allen feels more free as a player. I feel like Josh Allen has crossed that threshold. Like, he doesn't need a superstar receiver anymore to do damage. Does it help? Yes, but I don't think he needs it. I think he's finally crossed that realm where he puts the ball in the places where it needs to go, and he uses his legs when he needs to go to get him in the places he needs to be. And he's the one that's going to make receivers better for playing with him. So I really have to give it to Josh Allen, because a couple of years ago, when I watched him, obviously you saw the talent and the arm talent and the athleticism running with the football, and they used that and they played on that a lot. But you saw the football for what it was, and you're like, all right, like he's good, but once this team falls apart a little bit, he's going to he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes, and he truly is what a franchise quarterback should be. Like, you come out the gate and you show talent right away. At times you show a lot of talent, but you struggle and you make boneheaded mistakes. You remember that playoff game where you just kind of threw the ball up in the air? Like, it was just so weird, right? He's beyond that now. Like, he knows his value as a player. He knows where he fits on the field. Like, he knows he could just take off at any moment and pick up first downs. So it's not pressure to throw the ball. He has a really strong arm, so that bails him out of a lot of situations. The only way you could really beat Josh Allen right now is if you contain him on the edge and make him throw from that back foot and make a mistake, because the Jets have a good secondary. So if you're playing a team with a good secondary, and usually it seems like the last few games, the Jets been able to pressure Allen and get him off kilter. And that's any quarterback, right? Get them out of what they're naturally able to play. Like, if a quarterback that likes to run could get to the edge, okay, then that's their world. Because now they have a step on the defensive lineman. The backer who's covering the slot receiver's got his head turned, right? And the receiver that's streaking over, the cornerback has to say, am I going to undercut this and help? Or another backer is like, am I going to help? And then it's like, or is he going to take off, or is he going to throw it? It's just like you're playing in an athletic quarterback's hands at that point in time. So if you seal those edges and you trap them and make them have to step up into the middle of that pocket, step up to Quinnen Williams, right? So he can pop and release and then grab him in the middle, okay? Also, I'd much rather have my smaller guys like Quincy or Sherwood that have to help out in the middle have to go against a Josh Allen than an offensive lineman, right? So I want the Jets to seal that edge, McDonald to seal that edge, right? And be able to force him in the middle. That's the only way you could beat him right now, in my personal opinion. So this is not going to be easy by any stretch to win this division. The AFC as a whole, I'm a little surprised. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. This, I'll admit, 100%. I did not think this AFC was going to be as streaky as it's turned out to be so far. Now, to be fair, it's early, right? It's really early, so we can't get too ahead of ourselves. And as you know, as we all know, injuries, anything can happen. Anything can happen in this league, right? So for me, I'm taking it one step at a time. But every time the New York Jets win, we are going to see Victor, right? Because he's going to come and he's going to do our keys, okay? So, Victor, victory formation, come on up and tell us what you got, brother.
Now it's time for victory formation with Victor Santa Cruz. Let's go!
Thanks, Guru. Thanks, JR. Great intro there. Big facts. A lot of big facts there. The Jets really dominated this week, and it was great, or should I say last week. To beat the Patriots like that in prime time, huge. So no Tyrus this week, but I just want to shout him out. He had his 4 keys to victory against the Patriots, 3 of 4 on point. The only one that we didn't do well on was the penalties. Still a lot of penalties, too many penalties. You're going to beat good teams, you got to play clean football. He also mentioned third down efficiency, which was great. Winning the run game, which we did, 57 yards to 115 for our running backs, and control the clock. We did all that stuff really well, and we won big time. So my 3 keys against the Patriots here were, number 1, balanced attack. spread the ball around. Like you said, 7 different targets. Aaron Rodgers' playbook was wide open. Throw to anybody. Everyone's open. If you're not open, Rodgers is going to throw you open. We got both tight ends involved. Conklin actually was the leading receiver in terms of yards and receptions. Mike Williams had 3 catches. He's getting ramped up. I think he's only going to see more targets as time goes by. Um, Alan Lazard, obviously, with the big play, bringing the ball to the house with half his shirt torn off. That was great. We had the rookie Allen with 11 carries, not just all Brees Hall all day long. We really just did a great job of balancing everything on offense. And then on the defensive side as well, we had we limited the Patriots run game. We're able to keep them kind of one-dimensional. They couldn't run the ball, so they had to start throwing it, and our defense was up to it. The pressure was just in his face all game long. 7 sacks. Our secondary was locking things down. He had nowhere to throw. He was holding the ball too long. We were blitzing at one point, just having some fun playing defense. So that was great. Forced a whole bunch of punts. And one of the most important things this year so far, this offense keeps our defense fresh. So when they're not on the field all game long, they're coming in hot and they're coming after that quarterback. And you see what happens here. So balanced attack all around. It was great to watch. That was key number 1. Number 2, pressure and protection. We had 7 sacks. Patriots had 2. There's a lot more to that. Aaron Rodgers had all day to throw on most of these plays. The 2 sacks, it happens, but we were just all over Brissett. We're getting pressure. We're bringing blitzes. He was uncomfortable in the pocket. You could see it. He made some really ugly throws when he had some pressure in his face. That kind of stuff can turn into picks. Rodgers just looked great. Like you said, he was extending plays, using his legs, running around, just throwing absolute dimes on the run. So that was great to see. But it all starts with the protection up front. He had time to throw. The Jets offensive line has been one of the best in the league so far when it comes to protecting the quarterback. You don't like to see Rodgers take that hit by the sideline, especially it was kind of low. You don't want to see that Achilles getting touched. But he took it. He got up and he said, "Hey, this is football. This is how you play the game." So he shook it off, and he bounced right back in there. Played an outstanding game. Number 3, dominate time of possession. So this is one of Tyrus's keys as well. Control the clock. If the other team doesn't have a chance to possess the ball, how can they score? So 40 minutes versus 19. That's what the time of possession looked like. The Jets, it was one-sided. So when you have the ball for 2/3 of the game, the opposite team doesn't have too much of a chance. Like I mentioned before, the defense well rested. They come in there full pass rush, just all out. The run game wasn't there for the Patriots, so they could just rush the pass. They didn't have to really worry about giving up big runs. And the running game was pretty much stopped for the Patriots. Like I mentioned, they had their running backs had 57 yards. So just an all around great game. So many things I could pick for this victory formation, keys to victory. It was hard to pick these 3. There were just so many of them. So great game. Really happy that we got to destroy the Patriots like that in prime time, nonetheless. So thanks a lot, Guru. Let's go Jets.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother, for all those victory formation keys. And I'm with you, man. Just to kick their butts, and you look at how the game was structured too as it started moving. You're like, are you sure that they messed up when you looked at the stats? The Pats had the fewest first downs for the Patriots in any half since 2000, 252 to 40 yards at the half. That stuff that you used to see with the Jets with their little quarterback messes at the half. So that was good to see. The Jets had 17 first downs at the half to the Patriots 4. It was just a really, really, really good game for the New York Jets. So I was super excited. But something else that kind of came out of last weekend happened to be with the Oakland Raiders. And as you know, Davante Adams has been discussed with the New York Jets a bunch of times because of Aaron Rodgers. But, I think Davante has kind of been misplayed wrong in a sense, because the reason why he went to the Raiders, people forget, is that his college buddy there, Mr. Carr, was supposed to be the quarterback, and the team moved on from him fairly quickly. And fairly quickly after that, Davante changed his tune. And after that little conversation that we had earlier about how much Rodgers has shown in the Jets, how many TDs, right, the Jets have scored, and how long it took for the Jets to score this many touchdowns with Zach Wilson and company, you could see how much a quarterback matters, not only to the team, but to a Hall of Fame talented type of wide receiver and Davante Adams. And you could see the distrust, and you could see the lack of effort at times. And I guess maybe this is why Mr. Pierce came out, and this is exactly what he said. Let me see if I could get it here. And it won't let me pull it up. But I believe what he said is, I think as the game went on, I don't think it was the team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions and will make business decisions going forward as well. So obviously a lot of play was on that. And so when I was looking around and trying to dig up some information, someone had wrote an article on Barstool Sports. I believe it's Jack Mack. And he was just pulling up some numbers to see what would need to be done. So again, this is not official because I haven't checked these. I was just happened to scroll across it when Victor was talking. I wanted to throw this out there. But so Davante Adams' cap hit is $25 million for the season. The Jets can fit that in. They currently have $18 million in room, thanks to Reddick. The big jump comes next season when Adams is due $44 million, but the Jets currently have 87 in cap space, the fourth most in the league. So it's not as impossible as we might think to be able to get someone like Davante Adams. And people say, well, why do we need him? We don't need Davante Adams. It's stupid. Why would we go ahead and do that? We're playing just fine now. The playoffs and injuries, I'm not turning down the opportunity to get a Davante Adams on a cheap or on a low to pair with someone. Imagine, you see how good Lazard is with Aaron Rodgers here in a Jets uniform. Could you imagine what Davante Adams could be here in a Jets uniform? And yeah, there'd have to be some shifting done to get him in because there's a lot of talented pieces. You might have to move one of those talented pieces ultimately, but ultimately the goal is to win the Super Bowl. I want to get to the playoffs. I want to get to AFC Championship games, and I want to see a Super Bowl in my lifetime. This is not a baseball team. This is not the way that you set up. Like, it would be great to make the playoffs every single year, wouldn't it? I'd love it. But it doesn't work out like that because the amount of change that happens in football. There is no minor league system. So this is the Jets' time to move. Just like we all thought it was potentially the Bills' time 2 years ago. Remember that game when him and Mahomes went back and forth? Like, did Josh Allen miss his window? Maybe, maybe not. But you think, you don't want to miss windows. We already have the Jets play some of the best defense we've seen as Jet fans since Rex Ryan, and even during Rex Ryan's era, it would be comparably great defensive football. One of the best defensive teams that I've seen in my lifetime, the last 2 years, and they don't look exactly the same, right? So you're not guaranteed that your team is going to be the same year after year after year after year. So you got to get while the going is going, while it's hot. Strike while it's hot, right? Strike while the iron's hot. And that's how I feel. So if you could get someone like Davante that's paired well with him, if you have to move a wide receiver, I'm okay with that. I have no problems with that whatsoever. If you guys want to comment and say why you wouldn't, right? And I think we could discuss it and we could talk about it a little bit further. But I just wanted to throw that out there because, these are the types of moves that teams make. Like, no one said anything when the 49ers got McCaffrey, nobody said anything like that. when they went and got McCaffrey. Sometimes you have to go out and you have to get big-time players to round out your team, right? When you see your team, you go, okay, I think we can add another piece here to really strike some fear into this team. So into these teams. So what if the Jets are able to maybe move Reddick in a package, right? Maybe the Raiders will be willing to take a defensive player, right? That's very talented in exchange, right? And maybe be willing to even pay him more of what he needed, and it could work out. Maybe Reddick and a pick and maybe a receiver or something like that of some sort. And then you can really get things popping. And then you get another big time wide receiver. You're telling me you wouldn't want Davante Adams, you wouldn't want Garrett Wilson, and you wouldn't want Mike Williams on the field all at the same time? Because Garrett can definitely play in the slot. Mike on the outside with Davante, with Conklin and Breece Hall and Braylon Allen all on the field at the same time. Yeah. I'll take that. With Aaron Rodgers. Yep. All day long, I'll take that as a Jet fan because that's living, baby. And that's what we've been looking for. That's what I've been looking for this whole time. A team to step out and get real talent and put it to work for the New York Jets. Not secondary talent, not, oh, well, this is what we can get because of this or that or that or this. No. Big time talent, bring it in. Because when everyone else does it and they get what they need, they get the wins they need, they get the Super Bowls they need, nobody says anything. So I don't care. It's my turn now. I want some wins. I want some playoffs. I want some Super Bowls. I want all this stuff everybody else has gotten that I haven't experienced yet. I want it. So go out and do what you have to do and get it secured. Okay? So now moving on to the last segment before I let you all go, right? I'm not going to take up all your time. We got Jets Broncos this Sunday, 1 p.m. Don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Selling my ticket if anybody wants one. Single ticket, first row, 227A. Let me know. I think this is going to be another butt whooping. Okay? Now, I didn't get it exactly right last week, but I kind of did in one way. Now, I said the Jets are going to win, 41-14, I believe. But they weren't too far away from that. Missed field goal, one more drive. You're like right there, man. But the energy was there. The butt whooping energy was there. And I think the butt whooping energy is going to be there again. Because I'll say this, and here's the big difference. I believe the Jets could do what they did to the Patriots, they could do to the Broncos. The only difference is Brissett is not going to be careless with the football like Mr. Nix is going to be. It's just two different types of quarterbacks. You got Brissett, who hardly throws any picks or makes any mistakes, to a guy who literally has 5 interceptions to start the season with no touchdowns. And all of his touchdowns have come from running the football. And most of his extending driving plays have come through using his legs. You basically are just pulling out the Josh Allen first year scheme. You're setting the edge. You got to win the edges with these athletic guys and allow your talented interior players to be able to pop and release off their block and tackle Mr. Bo Nix, or get through the edge and get him to throw off his back foot so he can create a turnover, because he is proven, much like Will Levis, that they will take some chances. So the Jets need to capitalize on that. So they need to contain Nix on the edges. They need to run the football. Now, I put a little asterisk next to that because they need to run the football because it's part of the game and it sets other things up. But in reality, we do have Aaron Rodgers, and there's a good chance, a very good chance, that we could see, another 28 to 30-ish type of attempt game for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we beat the dog snot out of the Patriots and he still threw the ball 35 times. So what is that going to tell you, right? Now, they ran the ball 33 times, but that's because we had a huge amount of time of possession. So to be able to throw that many times and still run the ball like that to balance it out, your time of possession has to be very high. Can they do it against this team? Yes. I can see a lot of stalled out drives for the Broncos with Nick still trying to figure out how to play, with a defensive line that's going to be hungry, playing on the road. Ball could be wet, and that's why you want to establish the run, right? And it could be a back and forth game. Right now, it's looking like clear conditions. Supposed to rain, I think, the day before the game. But as you know, anything can be pushed up or back. So that's another thing. And you have to utilize the tight end of the teams. We already saw with Conklin how good he could be. And once you start getting Conklin the ball, things start really opening up all over the place. Now you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming down the sideline with Mike Williams. It's in the slot. It's the quick outs with Garrett Wilson. Sideline with Breece Hall, right? Running with Braylon Allen, both of them on the field at the same time together. Checks at the lines. Aaron Rodgers rolling out. Guys breaking off their routes, coming back to the ball. Lazard, the familiarity with Rodgers. Like everything is so familiar with them. That's why he's popping off so well, man. You can't discount these types of things. So if I guess I had to put a score on it, I'll be fair. I'll be normal this time. I think the Jets, I think the first quarter is going to be a feeling out of sorts, but I believe by halftime, the Jets should have a 14-17-3 or 17-7 type of a lead. And then coming out of halftime, I could see the Jets really start to run the ball, break down the Broncos, be in position to get a couple of field goals, right? So you're thinking 17, 20, 23. And then I could see another touchdown in the second half, either late, Braylon Allen or a Rodgers TD. So I could see from there, what did I say, 20, 23. So, yeah, I could see like 30 to 17. So I'm going to go 30-17 Jets versus Broncos. I'm going to say Rodgers throws for 2 touchdowns in this game, a running back for 1, couple of field goals, something around there, right around there. So I'm going 30-17. Tony says, do you think the Jets have played better without CJ Mosley? Yes, at least for the first couple of games. So that's another guy, Mr. Sherwood has played outstanding. Like Tyra said, and like we talked about earlier, the Jets drafted him as a safety and converted him into a linebacker. And if it was any other team, they wouldn't have been able to continue this experiment, but they have, and they were able to teach him the right way. And he's become, it looks like a very quick middle linebacker that could go sideline to sideline and make tackles, a very physical, aggressive style of football. And yes, the defense has played a little bit better, but to be fair, Mosley, the whole team got their butt whipped the first game. So that could get kind of scratched off. And then he was kind of hurt shortly after that, right? So it's hard to really say. I'd have to give it more. I'd have to give it a lot more. But for me, he's outplayed him. Like for everything I've seen, he's outplayed him right now. That doesn't mean Mosley doesn't have a place. That doesn't mean they're not going to rotate well. That just might mean that, and you got to remember, there's a lot that Mosley brings to the table as far as the defense, calling and putting players in sets and stuff, and places they need to be. But yeah, absolutely, 100%. He's outplayed him, and that's a good thing, right? That's scouting, right? That means that Joe and company they're on the. These guys know what they're doing, right? It's really getting the right coaching staff and allowing these players to be able to develop under these guys and be able to play well. So I absolutely love what I've seen from the Jets linebackers this year. I thought they looked a little undersized against San Francisco. And, something that the Patriots should have done a lot more is run up the middle. Like, don't try the Jets on the edges. The Jets are quick on the edges, both with their ends, their backers, and their middle linebackers that come down. So the way to beat the Jets, at least right now, is to test their middle. Let the Jets prove to you that they can shut that middle down, shut that run down. And then once they do that, the Jets are going to be really dangerous defensively. Absolutely, 100%. So, big time game. I think I'll be able to go on for my first post-game reaction. I think I was able to get some kind of control in that fashion to be able to do that again. So I'll do my post-game report. Please join us. Please join us. We'll have a game thread set up. We got articles going out throughout the week. I'll probably drop one tomorrow. Tyrus got some new stuff that's coming out soon. So please join us. And please subscribe to our backup page just in case we get knocked off. So this is Jets Guru. Go to Jets Guru Live after the show and hit like on that page just in case we lose access to this. We don't have to shut the whole thing down. And we also shout out to our YouTube fans for tuning in over there. You can also watch the show on YouTube. Just type in Jets Guru. Appreciate the support. JR, give me your final score before we get going.
What up? Can you hear me?
Yep. What do you got for your final score, brother?
Final score, Denver Broncos versus New York Jets. I've got, man, I'm going to go 31-10 Jets.
So we got 31-10 Jets. I'm going, that's JR. So
Yep.
I'm going 30-17 Jets.
Okay.
All right. And if you guys want to put your predictions in the bottom, maybe we could send out something to those. If anybody gets the score 100% correct, we'll send you a little swag or something from Jets Guru. So put your predictions in the comment section, either through YouTube or through Facebook. And thank you guys. Thank you, JR. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone who supports the show. Tyrus, everyone who shares and helps make it turn and move. We've been having great numbers on the pages, so keep tuning in, keep sharing those articles, keep commenting. Once the haters start coming back, man, I know the show is starting to get going again. And that's what we're getting. We're getting a lot of non-Jet fans coming on the page because they hate Aaron Rodgers or something. I don't know what it is. But thank you guys for tuning in so much. We'll see you Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time on the game thread and the post-game reaction. JR, thank you. Jets Guru out.
Let's go, Jets.
You know about rolling down in the down in the
Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here.